that learn to overcome that, because there's other people out there with the same kind of addictions, and so I find that they're inspiring for those people who are looking to make a change too. And but yeah.
You know, getting back to the aspect of music today, back in when I recorded the Mental Health record, our expectations were to sell 50,000 copies, which basically, if you sold that many, kind of like almost guaranteed back then,
Right.
you would get a second album. And you could actually make a living out of touring,
Right.
which meant that you were not going to be sleeping on the floor. You were going to be sleeping
Right.
in your own apartment, or maybe share it with the guitar player or whatever.
Right.
You know, you will not be struggling anymore.
Right.
And then because of MTV and, you know, Mental Health, we sold millions of records. So selling millions of records became the standard
Right.
of having a career, a successful career, a
Right.
career that the record company will stand behind you and give you more opportunities to make records.
Right.
Invest money in you, invest
Right.
money in making videos and maybe some tour support and so on. And then now it's a whole different story.
Right.
You know, if an artist sells maybe 50,000, you might go to number one that week.
No, it's very different.
Yeah.
And the hard thing is you don't even make money off of music anymore.
Oh, exactly.
Right.
So, having said that,
Yeah.
what's your strategy?
It's going to have to be coming down to gigs and merchandising. I mean, that's really what it is. Like, it's sort of flipped from what I mean, I didn't do anything in your era, but from what I know, it's just sort of flipped. The music was the money. And now the music is almost like an advertisement to say, buy my stuff, right? Buy my T-shirt, buy my mug, whatever. And then, of course, you make money over gigs. And so I know, I've been talking to a few people in your generation, and they talk about how frustrating that is for them. For me, it's not that frustrating because I don't know any different. This is just how it has been from the beginning for me. So, but I think if you still love music, like I do, I'm okay with almost practically giving away the song for free. You know, if you're streaming it somewhere. I mean, that's really kind of, you know, if you're streaming it on Pandora or Spotify or whatever.
No, I understand.
To go perform.
Yeah.
And then, so your money's in your performance and the money's in the merchandising. And I still get to do what I love to do.
Just like you, Mike, I found my calling to be music. When I found my calling, I didn't even know there was a music industry. All I knew is that playing music made me feel good.
Yeah.
And the girls liked it. Which is the reason to begin with why I got into it, you know. And so it still should always be about that. It should be about, it's a calling. It's like you play music because you have no other choice.
Right.
This
See,
is who
and
you
for
are.
me, I don't feel like it's working. Like doing a gig or going to the studio, and I could be there for hours. I remember this one time I don't know what it was. We just kept redoing the song because we just kept rewriting it. We were like, well, I feel this way about it now, and I feel this about it. We were there until, I think, 3 a.m, and I was still ready to continue to go, and it was my producer who called, and he's like, no, I'm going to bed. We're going. But I think if you really love what you do, it just does not feel like work at all. I mean, it is work, and you have to work hard. You got to grind hard, but again, if you like what you do, you love what you do, it just, I almost feel like I'm playing all the time. I'm just playing, and
Regarding your music career, what's your short-term goal and your long-range goal?
Okay, short-term goal is to get this EP finished up and mixed.
How many songs?
There's just 6 on them, and so I'm hoping, which I'm excited about, and I don't know if I'm supposed to announce this or not, but Paul Shortino, you know Paul, he agreed to do one of the tracks with me. So when we get this particular song mix, we got to send it over to him to do his part, because that man's voice is amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. I know you know Paul. I know.
Paul.
Yeah,
he was a member of Choir Riot for a while.
Yeah. And so I remember just messaging him one day on Twitter, because we followed each other. And if you might have your settings, you can't talk to each other unless you follow each other. And so I said, what are the odds? Because I'm a little super ambitious, I guess. And I was like, you know what? If I don't ask, the answer's already no. And so I said, what are the odds of getting your voice on one of my tracks? And then he just messaged back, sure. And I'm like, what? Like, okay. And so then we exchanged numbers, and so we talked about it a little bit, and then I'm waiting for my producer to finish up so we can send it. But that was a big highlight for me. Because, again, like, this was the generation my mom listened to, and so to get a voice like that, and then of course for me the 80s, like the people who were singing in the 80s, those were the big voices, like the big booming voices.
And these are originals.
Yeah, these are originals.
Yeah.
And then so I'm fixing that. My next goal is to find musicians that want to work, because I don't think, you know what, social media is great, and you need that. You need that social media presence now. Everything's going social media now. But you still have to go out and manually work. And so my next goal will be score a few gigs once I get the musicians together. And my long-term goal is to sing until I die. That's it.
Yeah.
I'll be happy dying right in a microphone. I would.
Why not? Why not? Yeah, absolutely. And your long-term goal is your final outcome as in your journey. What do you want achieved?
Well, I would love to have the kind of success that you had. I mean, lots of people say, well, it's impossible, or think that you couldn't do it. But I'm one of those who believe if you start believing it, you're going to start doing everything it takes to go for that goal. I always wanted to be in a position to do, again, what I love. Music was such a healer for me. It was such a healer for me. It's almost... I don't know how to... I mean, you know, you do music.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's funny because you know it's great that we're capturing this moment that I'm sitting here, and you tell me that you look forward to someday having the career that I have. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here thinking about what I'm going to do next, because the career that I've had is just a part of the journey. I'm not done yet.
Right.
You know, and I feel like I'm still starting.
Yeah. Well, that's good, though.
Not starting all over again, but I'm just getting started.
You're just getting started?
Getting started.
Well, that's amazing. Well, that means you keep grinding, which is great. I mean, not every musician feels that way. Some like to retire. Some like to... And the idea of retirement almost saddens me. I just can't imagine... I'm not saying that there won't be moments where you take a break, you know, like I'm going to take the next 6 months and not do anything because I just need to regroup or whatever. But I think if you really, truly love something, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be music, whatever it is, I can't see anybody really 100% retiring.
Well, you can. It's like stop breathing.
Right. Yeah. Well, and music is always changing. That's what I love about music. It's always changing. There's always something new. There's always a new sound. I loved it. So I was 12. I moved to a new city. So 12 is like when you really start getting into music. And so I was meeting friends at a new school, and they're like, what bands are you into? And I name dropped bands like Journey and Whitesnake and Quiet Riot and Heart. I love women that can rock. And we were just talking about Sash Jordan on Twitter, weren't we? Like, anyways, so my friends were like, who? Because this was not the generation that they were, you know, this was like the 90s, and I just got really... This was the moment that I realized my mom was not putting on current music.
Interesting.
And I was like... But I was really grateful. But anyways, they took pity on me, and they caught me all up, so... But I got all this 70s stuff in this 80s and the 90s and 2000s, so I'm quite eclectic in what I like, but... Yeah. All of it really heavily influenced.
Yeah, I mean, there's been timeless music in every generation.
Yeah.
And I can listen to something from the 60s, you know, like the Beatles, with as much love as I hear something from the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, like a Led Zeppelin track or something, you know.
No, you really can.
It's the quality that matters. Yeah.
No, it is.
Kristen, thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to watching your journey.
Okay.
Really, it's going to be... I expect many
I'll
great
tweet
things
at
from
you. Rudy, what do I do next?
Well, please do. I'm here because I do mentor a lot of young upcoming musicians, you know, because it's missing. That mentorship is missing in the industry.
It really is. You know what? That was... and I'll leave this, but I really had to wing it when I first started. I had to wing it and just hope when I threw something out there, it stuck. And in some ways, I'm still winging it because sometimes I don't know what I'm doing next, but I know I have to do something.
Yeah. It's, you know, what we had back in the day, and I was mentored by some of the great ones, you know, producers and artist relation people like John Colatner, you know, who I don't think he's active anymore, but he was such a genius, actually. And all you have to do is listen, you know. I mean, I was mentored, you know, when I was touring with Ozzy, Sharon Osbourne, you know, we were in the same bus, and she was making all these decisions, you know, for Ozzy's career, and it really, I paid a lot of attention, you know. And that seems to be missing nowadays, you know, that intimacy with all these people with so much experience that we were working with in the industry is pretty much left to the artists to do everything. Manage yourself and produce yourself and promote yourself, market yourself. And it's like, whatever happened to all those great contributors, mentors that came in with decades of experience that really help the artists?
What's happening now too, and with social media, is they're watching your social media presence, and they don't want to work with you until you have a big social media presence. And I've been lucky to have a great producer who's also been a mentor, which has been really, really nice. Stuart over there has sort of mentored me quite a bit too, which has been really nice. But for the most part, I had to grow my own social media. There's no people behind that. It's just me. People were asking me, like, well, how many people you have running the account? Nobody. Yeah. It's me. I have to manage myself. I network myself. You have to do it all now.
Yeah. Which is great, because back in, you know, when I say back in the day, I'm talking about, you know, when the 80s or whatever.
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. Before you were born, you know. We artists were kept isolated from a lot of that stuff. Right. We kept isolated from the record company. The manager would not allow us, or the record company did not really want to talk to us unless there was a lawyer or a manager present. You know, we didn't have that one-on-one relationship with the industry. It was kind of like we were isolated all the time. So now I think it's the artist has better control of their destiny. It's just, I just wish that there were more people out there with experience, like myself and a lot of my peers, that would share.
I do too, you know, and there's days where I feel like, and don't get me wrong, I'm pretty independent and I love that independent feeling, but there are days where I feel like someone just take my hand and tell me what to do next. Well, because I feel like...
I'll take your hand right now and shake it and say, anytime you need advice, you got my number. Just call me.
Thank you.
Call me. Call me. Because I expect many great things from you.
Oh, thank you so much.
And just stick with it.
All right.
No plan B.
No plan B.
You're going to make it.
Nothing. Thank you.
You're going to make it. Thank you so much, Kristen.
Thanks for having me.
God bless you.
It was great. You too.
Thank you.